weren't worth their weight.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable. Though we have our map bans ready for you guys. So again, 7-map pool, 6 maps are banned. I'm gonna be a broken record at the end of this one. Clubhouse again. We're just going through Oregon and Clubhouse. This is APAC loves this Clubhouse and completely understandable, right? It works pretty well. Though I fear that Giants got a freebie on this one. Quickly, what do you guys think?
This is a rematch. They won 7-5 last time.
Yep.
On the same map. So I'd assume they just do 7-4 now.
Look, I hope for Cyclops, they've been able to counter something, be able to look back on the VOD and go, hey, is there something we can read into here, ban here, do? But if you're something like Giants, surely you're able to just counter-adapt their adaptation, surely.
Huh. Was it a better decision, think, to ban out Villa to go for Club? Like, this is all in Cyclops' quarter.
Banned it the most. Cyclops have banned Villa the most. It's one of their default bans. So, not surprised that they get rid of Villa. They certainly don't want to go there.
I'm just surprised something like Clubhouse going through. If I'm the underdog team going in against a team that I know just beat us there, you're throwing the sink at them now. You're trying, really new things, because what you did last time clearly did not work.
Okay, we have our social media rankings as usual. What do you guys think about these matches? Well, specifically this one here between Cyclops and Giants. Pretty close, man. Cyclops showing up. Japanese fans are definitely here behind. But yeah, it's not like it's much of a difference. 51% to 49%. And given the last performance when these two played against one another on specifically this map, as you're saying, Alex, 7-5, yeah, it can really go either way unless Giants has looked back and fixed their issues, which, seeing how Gig has been fitting with them and how their other matches have looked like, it's a pretty big possibility.
Well, we'll see. I think it'll be a close one. I still think it'll be a close one. I just think that if Cyclops leans too much in the counter strats and leans too much into the fact that they think Giants is predictable, they'll get clapped back very quickly.
I think a team that's up like 6-0 now is not gonna all of a sudden start slacking, right? Like they hopefully they have the attitude of they're gonna work twice as hard as they've done up until now, because they want to make it 7-0 instead of 6-0. Like, it's such a massive statement going undefeated.
Yeah, that's definitely what you want to show for everybody. You show yourself, I'm the big one here. No one else is going to take me down. But we have Cyclops versus Giants. Our map is ready and loaded up, and we're going to send it over to Geo and Dev. Wow, enjoy.
Aw, thank you, Milosh. It is Giants versus Cyclops, a rematch. The team that no one can beat, and the team that maybe has the best shot at taking them down. Geo, I'm so riled up. I'm so keen.
I'm sat here like, I didn't know whether to expect them to go to the same map, and I think they said it on the desk, but it is a huge statement. If Giants take this, they're 7-0, that's massive. But if they don't, that's also in and of itself huge, because it means that Cyclops were able to figure out what went wrong last time. They were able to go back to the map that they lost to them on before and take down who's currently sat at the top of the leaderboard. So either way, this is a huge, huge match.
Yeah, not only are Giants undefeated 6-0 so far in the APAC North League, but these guys haven't lost a game for 3 months, way back in the Southeast Asian Pro League. That was to Q-Confirm, and that was actually on Clubhouse. So Cyclops I can understand their thought process here. Taking Giants there, it's the last time they lost a game, but of course it is a rematch of that 5-7 that slipped away at Giants last time around. It was a very close game, and Cyclops haven't quite met the expectation that we placed on them going into this season. I think a lot of people expected that they would be the best Japanese team, potentially a contender for that top spot, but they haven't quite met that expectation thus far. As we get into the ban phase, I'm seeing a few curveballs thrown here by Cyclops with that Hibana in particular. This tells me that they are coming in with a bit of a different idea compared to last time.
Yeah, it's interesting because last time they really went in for the target ban that we often see go against Giants, and that's the Montagna. That's going to be available this time. And everyone likes to bring up how this is Lunar Metal's, his operator. This is what he shines on. And suddenly that's available, opting to get rid of that hard breach instead, trying to make it harder for them to actually move in onto the site directly rather than worry about figuring out what one guy on the other team. And I think part of that is a good thing, right? It means they're playing their game rather than worrying so much about the enemies.
And one of the things I really like about the Hibana ban is, yes, it's so typical here on Clubhouse to ban a hard breacher. But if you're choosing between hard breaches, if anything, like Hibana is really an uncommon ban. Usually you go for that Maverick. But the thing about that Hibana ban is it's actually Hysterix' main on this map. On the attacking side, Hysterix has been the player that has topped the leaderboards in the APAC North League overall, not just on his team, the entire league, in 3 out of 5 of the key categories that are featured on CGG, including his overall rating. Hysterix has been undeniably the best player in the APAC North League so far. Cyclops are trying to throw him off his game. That's a difficult thing to do, and I guess we'll see when it goes on to the attack if that Hibana ban's going to have an impact.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, set at ridiculous stats, like plus 37 is his kill differential. It's just ridiculous to see that. But yeah, so there's really no other way of putting it. But he's instead going to be taking Kapkan here on the defense. That was a 6 pick for them, and combined along with the Legion as well, they're really going for this denial of a push in onto the site, and he's placing a lot of these booby traps up on the upstairs, so it's going to make a push up through the top a lot harder. And you can already straight away see Cyclops getting to work on the CCTV wall there as well. Suzuki places that exothermic charge.
This is for the most part what people would refer to as an SSG roam. Some slightly different operators that don't have the Mozzie, but we've got that Legion, which is a bit of information gathering and also prevents that rush. And interestingly to me, Lunar Metal was actually on the top floor as the Pulse. Typically that's an operator you'd see downstairs. He is going to go back down the hatch and then come back up the main stairs here. Giants have such a heavy roam. In fact, it's only Ysera and Jordan on the bomb site. Now, Giants, we know them to be so good on that roam. Individually, these players are so talented, but they also have such fantastic chemistry. Now looking at this, Giants have elected to use that game sense to get back onto site, at least for the most part. Lunar Metal and Hysterix drops down too. This roam clear working out pretty well for Cyclops, but Giants aren't going to be too unhappy about that one. They've got 4 players on site with still Speakeasy roaming, and that's half the round wasted.
It also makes it so much harder for Cyclops to get the value they want out of those logic bombs on the Dokkaebi, because as soon as they brought that out, that's when Giants started to drop back down, and you're going to be relatively far away for the information that can be gathered by the sounds of those mobile phones ringing to really do all that much for you. And even if you've at that point discerned that they are going back down to the site, it's not like you're going to really be able to catch any of them out onto the roam because they're not on a roam anymore.
You'll notice the moto hatch is open, so Cyclops won't have to use hard breach on that, but they do have to deal with this kitchen hatch. With Hibana ban, you have to get up close and personal to open that hatch, either a thermite charge or the Maverick torch. The thermite exothermics can get destroyed, or tricked rather, by the impact grenades we have from Ysera and Hysterix. That's 3 total, which is more than how many exothermic charges you have in total, and more than it's remaining because Sue's already used one on the TV wall. So I think Cyclops is going to elect not so much to go for kitchen. Starting this pressure on blue is Gatorada, but time is ticking down.
Yeah, just 30 seconds remaining pretty much, and they have to start moving on in. We have this position here from Anyton in Moto. It's actually going to be Suzuki opening things up with the shot onto Luna, but that does get turned around, and Giants starting to get quite a decent amount of kills in. Speakeasy with the 2K. Anyton does get involved here, but it might be a bit too late.
Only 2 players left for Giants trying to hold on. Gatorado with a goo mine in his foot. Him and Anderson both low on HP, and Giants have full control here. It's all on Anderson trying to get this diffuser down in a 1 versus 2. He's going to have to stick this for 3 seconds at 0. The impact grenade to finish it off. And Ysera finishes off the round in style.
And really, I think that even though it came down to that very last second there, Giants did manage to achieve exactly what they set out to do. They made it incredibly hard for the team to push in. And with the Hibana ban, even though that did come out from the side of Cyclops, it meant that they knew that that kitchen hatch wasn't really going to be challenged all that much. And so there was still a limited route in that Cyclops had the option to take. It meant things were left very late. It meant that that push was a lot riskier to come out from them. And of course, Giants were able to capitalize on that very, very swiftly. So now they're going to be going up to CCTV and Cash for their next site. 6 picking off the mirror and going to be playing the more standard smoke, which again, you can use to prevent that push in the late round. Not going to be a Monty or anything like that. Don't need to worry about that. But, you know, it's very common to see him here.
And that does make me wonder whether that mirror teased out in the reveal phase is to make Cyclops think that Giants are going to Gym Bedroom, where they usually do bring a mirror, but nonetheless, it's not going to have a huge impact here, of course, because Cyclops bring the exact same operator lineup, or near enough. The only difference on last round is seeing the sledge in place of the buck, and now they're effectively the same thing. Let's be honest. You don't have the grenades on the buck anymore, and the sledge can only go top down rather than bottom up, but, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's mostly kind of the same role that Black Ray's going to be playing, and for the most part, similar utility he'll have at his disposal.
Yeah, and actually not having the buck means that getting rid of those mute jammers could be a little bit more of a pain. You have to rely on the Ashe a bit more for that. She'll have to go underneath. Very frequently you're used to seeing as a fear, but obviously she's not even going to make her way up onto the lineup. But if you do choose to use the Ashe, that means that she can't then be used for something else like getting rid of shields. And given that you do have a Wamai and a smoke, there's going to be 2 deployable shields on the side of the defenders anyway. So,
and once you add to the Vulcan shields from Ysera as well, there's just so much utility that Cyclops has to clear.
Very true. That's a really early smoke there, but I guess, you know, the point there is you want to push the Maverick away.
It actually denied Suzu from getting that thermite charge on. He was tempted there to make it happen, but he gets gassed off and he takes a bit of damage for it. Hysterics, though, a second one to go on, and there's still the mute jammer hasn't been destroyed, which means Suzu can't detonate that exothermic charge. Finally, the Maverick does take out that mute jammer, and the wall is open, but a little bit of damage done. I think that no one's going to be super unhappy about that. Hysterics has used 2 of his gas, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. We're now looking at Speakies and try and hold Garage on for as long as possible. But Suzu to find that opening pick onto the Goyo. Typically, Ysera plays downstairs, so that might actually enable some more vertical pressure. What is this? It's a rush into the bomb site. So much time left, and Ayagator just went full send.
That makes it a lot easier here for Cyclops, who are really only facing 3 members from Giants. Seeing a bit of a roam from Luna, who's a bit further away over in Master, but most of the presence here from Cyclops is over on the east side. Luna's actually going to be jumping out, but Black Ray is down below and not going to be caught in any kind of line of sight. Ayagator and Aniton going to be coming in through the garage. Ever since that control was taken, it makes it so much easier for them to come in from all these different angles. Hysteric still does have this shield at the top of red stairs. That'll give him a bit of protection, but actually he's going to move on up quite aggressively, deciding to move back instead. But this is where Cyclops is going to begin to move on in.
Nice flashbang there, and that means all the ADSs are burnt. Oh, the plant's going down on the breach. He gets off it for just a moment. Suzu knows he doesn't have adequate cover. Hysterics wants to make a play here. Swinging the corner, spots out the planter, takes him out. That's Suzu, and also the diffuser on the ground. But CAG are fighting back here. They've got the numbers advantage, and further now, it's all on Luna. The diffuser isn't down. The Jaeger doesn't have any plants null, but can he just shoot through the floor? He doesn't have the info, clearly. He spots out one player. That'll make this a little bit easier. A 1 versus 3 now on the retake with diffuser on the ground.
He's got to figure out where these enemies are. He's going up against 3 players, and they're going to know he's got to come in from some direction. They're going to have those angles covered. Being hit there by some of that fire, and you can see them going outside. It looks like they're going to try and flank round through the garage, and as he heads up through to the red stairs, is he going to be followed? 20 seconds remaining, and he still doesn't know where his opponents are. He has to make the decision. He's trying to get these pre-fires in, but so far not finding anyone. Not going to be able to land that shot, and instead, the shot's going to land on him. Cyclops take their first round.
A very nice execute from Cyclops. We were a bit worried there for a minute, but once Hysterics was taken out at the top of red stairs, that really was impossible for Giants to claw it back. The thing that really impressed and surprised me there for Cyclops is a lot of aggression really early into that round. So I feel like it was too late to call it a rush, but it was just a very assertive move from Ayagator. There was 1 minute 30, so we're halfway through the round, and already Cyclops have found 2 picks. It's a 5 versus 3. They've cleared out the player garage, and they've cleared out one of the players on... actually, I don't know exactly where Ysera was. Might have been roaming downstairs. And Aegator decides, I'm just going to sprint in and get to that default plant spot in TV. And when that happened, Giants sprung into action, tried to take out that player. C4 was wasted. And then there was a little bit of a dance back and forth. Cyclops tried to force that plant down at the breach. And initially, Hysterix denied that. But him making that play meant that he became exposed and was eligible for a refrag, which Cyclops then sorts out, and they had a 3 versus 1 numbers advantage, able to get that plant down without information for Lunametal to try and go for that vertical plant denial, thanks to earlier in the round Cyclops removing any utility on the bomb site for information gathering. So overall, really nice stuff from Cyclops, and in particular their ability to start this execute nice and early is something that I would definitely applaud them for.
Well, you said on the previous round that the teasing of the mirror may have suggested they were trying to bait Cyclops into believing that they were heading to gym and bedroom, and now that we actually are heading to gym and bedroom, the mirror has come out, and there they are. They're going to be placed on those 2 walls, looking into Stash and looking into, well, towards the jacuzzi wall, I suppose. Pretty standard place to put it. Have that soft wall next to it so that you can use it to peek as those players begin to come in from jacuzzi. And of course, when you're playing with the Maverick, if that's what you choose to open up the jacuzzi wall with, there are those potential lines of sight that get open that you could catch someone out with. There is, you have to bear in mind as well, Hysteric's playing down below on the bottom floor towards Lounge. So you have that roam that's also going to be going on there from Giants as well. Actually, I say he's towards Lounge. In fact, he's going to be in the basement entirely. Moving up Dirt, is he going to go for some kind of...
He's going to try and peek through these
something
bullet
a bit
holes,
cheeky.
or potentially... He's got the punch hole there. At least he puts that there, and it means that Cyclops have to be aware of that. You can peek from bottom Dirt all the way onto the jacuzzi balcony, but Cyclops don't expose themselves to that. In fact, they exposed Lunametal on the bomb site and take down... No, actually, that was underneath the bomb site. There you go, down in bar in the bottom hallway. All right, nice job from Blackway to take that one out. I don't quite know how he found that angle, but, you know, good job. And now it's Giants trying to hold on to Bathroom as long as possible, but Speakeasy's put under the pump here. Cyclops in a really great position.
Definitely looking very strong, and he's getting prepped to throw out that C4 over the wall. In it goes, but looks like it's... Well, it actually gets stuck on the wall, so... He's going to have to try that one again. But everyone was pretty far away anyway, so...
Speakeasy dodges both of those grenades, but still Blackray has 2 in the pocket he could use. He's nowhere to be seen, though. Great C4 from Speakeasy. He gets it back this time and takes down Aegator. Whoa, what's that peek? Hello? Aegator once again deciding to go full send, and it works out. This is so much ground now taken for Cyclops, and they have that man advantage quite significantly. It's up to Giants to try to retake 2 players from construction. 45 seconds left now. Cyclops not going to get too eager on this plant. They know they have time to play with, and getting themselves into a plant position may expose them, but it's Gatorada, the first one to be exposed, and Ysera secures that kill with a swift jump out the window, but it's all on him now in a 1 versus 3, the second 1 versus 3 we've seen for Giants, and it looks like Aegator may be able to stick this plant. That's a long angle. Surely Ysera can nail this kill. C4 unsuccessful, and Cyclops take 2 attack rounds back to back.
Completely taking advantage there of the openings that they're able to get really early. Giants, I think we were fully expecting them to have a lot more of a tenacity on these rounds, especially here on the defense that they looked so strong on in the past. But Cyclops, they're using that aggression. And actually, I have to say that Blackray, when these 2 teams played together before, it was a clutch from him that allowed them to secure a win onto Giants when they were really struggling. And he's one of these players who's been showing up a decent amount in this series so far, getting a number of those multi-kills. So evidently, Cyclops, you know, going back to what they said in the desk at the beginning, we want to see that they've made these adaptations. This is what they look like they're doing. And actually coming into this next round, when we look at the operator lineup, we also have adaptations on both sides. Giants going for a little bit more traditional style of the SSG roam because they're going to be bringing the Vigil as well. As you said at the beginning, the Mozzie still isn't there. But the Vigil will make that roam a little bit easier, but you have the Twitch on the side of Cyclops as well.
Makes you wonder what the Twitch is going to be used for. Perhaps to try and clear out mute jammers, but you know, they kind of both counter each other. It's not always a guarantee that the Twitch will be able to get rid of those jammers. But just to hark back to something you were talking about, that was the Black Ray clutch from the previous time these guys played each other. This is a rematch from only a few weeks back, and these guys played each other on this very map, right? And Cyclops is already outperforming last time they played on this map, because on their attacking half, they only won 1 out of 6 rounds against Giants last time. They've already won 2, twice as many, and last time they only won via a 1v1 clutch from Black Ray. This time, both of their rounds have been very decisive 3v0 wins. So already, things are looking so much better for Cyclops. And I know it's pretty early to call it, we're only 3 rounds in, but this is the closest Giants have been pushed to losing a game here in the APAC North League all season.
And as you say, it's obviously very early days as far as this series goes, and they could bring things around. And one thing that we know about Giants is because of the experience on their side, they should be able to make these mid-game adaptations. You know, they have quite a high pedigree from the coaching as well. Now they're going to have to get rid of that mute jammer if they want to open things up. And actually, that's what Iagate is going to be doing here as he starts to open up the wall so the exothermic can be used. That does delay time a little bit. Finally able to get that wall open. The Cyclops will start to move in.
For Giants, have they retreated back to the bomb site? Nope, Speakeasy still hanging around bar. There are still roamers. Now, last time Giants defended this on this roam, they had all 5 players back on the bomb site by 1:30 remaining on the timer. Now, it looks like Speakeasy is going to drop around the same time he did last time. That leaves 4 on site with only Hysterics still roaming. Now, he's on the vigil, and it looks like he has evaded detection here in Strip. He's going to hold on for as long as he can and potentially make an impactful flank. The player, Hysterics, is currently at a negative KD, very uncharacteristic of Hysterics, the player who's been the highlight, the best in class for the entire league thus far. So he's definitely looking to make an impact in the late round here.
It could be a highly powerful position as well if Cyclops are unaware of his positioning and he plays it patiently. But you can tell that Gatorada he's aware that there could be something coming up from behind as he moves down to try and take blue. And they're sending in those shock drones there to see what utility there is and where the positions are, sending in those shots as well. It's actually going to be Suzuki opening things up with Jordan going down, and Hysterics is actually starting to make his move.
Can Hysterics make the impact? That's what matters here. Trying to peek on through. The sledge of Black Ray is on his camera. Hysterics may not get detected here. He spots the drone. He runs straight past it, but no! Black Ray turns on him, and suddenly we are in a 1 versus 5. That's a flawless round in the pocket for Cyclops. They are looking so good here on Clubhouse Attack.
It almost makes you wonder if they played it too patiently. He was going in for that, and that was the linchpin they were relying on, and it didn't turn out to work in their favor because he actually didn't know where Black Ray was once he walked into the bar. He went in for that rush and completely missed him. I don't want to be too harsh, but almost an unforgivable mistake given that you were relying so heavily on that and that your star player was out of the game for such a significant amount of time in that round. Evidently, this SSG style roam hasn't been working that well. They did manage to make it work on the first round, but not so definitively that you would turn around and say, okay, this is the only way this team should be playing it. So as they move here to CCTV and Cash, which was another site that they lost to Cyclops, because now they've lost all 3 of the sites to Cyclops, this is where they're going to have to be like, all right, things have got to change. We lost our garage control really quickly before. It looked like it was going to be okay, but we got caught up in that crossfire. We didn't manage to hold them off the CCTV wall for a significant amount of time. And Hysterics, who was up in red stairs, managed to get trapped towards the end as we sent a guy up red stairs and someone else through the site to get rid of him. We couldn't dislodge the person who was defusing. It was a mess. And they need to pull it together.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
This is where I get Really worried for Giants, and Cyclops are looking at it in a great position. Last time these guys played each other, it was heavily defensive favored. There were only 3 attack rounds, 1 out of the 12 that were played. And now Cyclops, well, they put themselves in a position where the best Giants can do is go 3-3 on their defensive half. And look, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think, I mean, even if Giants rather can pull that back and make it happen, they're going to have to do really, really well on their attacking side. Last time they only managed to get 3 again, or rather 2 against Cyclops, and that wouldn't even be enough to force overtime if Cyclops are so strong on their defense again here. This is looking to be so good for Cyclops. Giants really have to get themselves into gear.
There's that Ysera roam on the bottom that you were talking about on the last round. And he does, of course, have that C4, which could be valuable if Cyclops are able to move in and begin that plant, but he got taken out before there was even an opportunity for that to happen in the last round. Now, Zafia, who wasn't brought before, is going to be now, and she has the opportunity to open up those forts from below. There you go. That's exactly what you see. And Giants are actually positioned very differently to how they were before, taking a lot of space here in construction and trying to prevent really that control coming in from the west side. It's going to make it very hard for Cyclops to move in as garage control is still held here by Speakeasy.
Speakeasy is such an important player right now. He is the only player from Giants that is that pincer, that little pinch between the south side and the north side. The only player who has a crossfire onto CCTV. Now, if he is taken out, could be the round for Cyclops. They will have so much control. You can see he's feeling this pressure, takes out yet another drone. He's cautious of a push in through TV as well. Last time, Gator pushed in through there to a lot of success. There's the long angle held by Suzu. So many magnets here to protect Speakeasy, but he just needs to keep delaying time. 1 minute left. And it's Cyclops who have to make the next move.
You have to bear in mind as well that it's just the magnets that are there with him. And here's Gerardo coming in. He still has these lifelines that he can send in to try and get rid of them. But there's 2 players. Make that 1 as Gator goes down.
Oh, no!
There's way less there. Gerardo bleeding as well. Cyclops, they're running out of options.
Now suddenly the tables have turned and Giants are in a 5 versus 3. Suzu goes for broke. Moves in through CCTV, trying to peek top red stairs. He can take down Hysterics. That's a good one, trying to claw it back. He needs to step up hugely here. Anderson trying to push over from the bedroom side. Gatorad has actually managed to pick himself up and push over to the kennel's wall. Now he can support Suzu C, and now Cyclops have actually regrouped, but there's 2 players in cash to hold down the fort, and they do just that, all on Gatorada. In a 1 versus 3, he's shut down. And Giants, we sweated for you for a moment, but they do lock down that defense here on Cash.
Making it so much harder for Cyclops to move into the site because of the defensive positioning that Giants were taking. It meant that it took so much more effort, so much more time for Cyclops to attempt to clear out those defenders. And even then, they tried to focus their attentions on certain parts of the map, for example, Garage, where they especially needed that control, and it didn't work out for them how they wanted. They actually used a lot of drones and a lot of time to ensure that they knew exactly where Speakeasy was and apply that pressure onto him. And even then, Speakeasy getting that first kill and downing Gatorada as well, even though they sent in some utility to try and clear out the magnets, it actually didn't do all that much. And that meant suddenly 2 of your players on the attack had been wasted. You hadn't cleared out from the west side of the map either, so you still had defensive presence in construction. And your players who were on the east side, waiting outside of CCTV, couldn't move in because you still had a crossfire set up from the defenders. So that was a lot better there from Giants. The fact they were able to hold that and make it considerably more difficult for Cyclops and more risky for them to move in and clear out that space. But they've obviously got to keep it up. And they're opting to move back down to the basement site instead of going to gym and bedroom.
5 seconds remaining.
And they have changed a couple things here on their basement bomb site defense, though. They're not opting, at least seemingly, to do this SSG strat. They teased out the castle in the reveal phase, but then Hysteric 6-picked onto the Wamai, and that'll be a lot of utility to protect, well, actually no Jaeger, interestingly, but just the magnets then to protect not only that deployable shield placed in blue, but also the 2 Vulcans, which Jordan has brought to the table. Now, Giants seemingly going for a full anchor strategy, all 5 players on the bomb site. They're roaming has not been successful. They've delayed a decent amount of time on their roams, but Cyclops are so good at using that last minute and a half to execute. Now, will these adaptations work? Jordan actually is so eager here to peek these holes. Luna Metal's trying to use that information gathering of the cardiac sensor to enable some kind of play. You can see Giants, they're feeling desperate here. They want to take the fight back to Cyclops.
This incredibly aggressive positioning is something they do need to be aware of, as Jordan has been caught out in the past doing that. But right now, it's not going to be a massive problem for them. And interestingly, on the defensive side, there aren't any impacts. So they don't really need to worry quite so much about opening those hatches as they have done in the past. And one thing with Giants is because they don't have that Jaeger, but they're facing 4 frag grenades, as these hatches get open, that's a potential risk that they're going to have to face. Styric sitting here in blue, he does still have that shield up, and he's going to have to send information about where those drones are so that his team can help get rid of them, preventing him from relinquishing his position to do it himself.
Now the stun grenades to come through. He knows that means his time. Has the timer on it, and there you go. The Ash charge to follow, and that is his position thwarted. Good thing that he backed out when he did, but that means Cyclops can take control of blue, or maybe not. Hysterics has got something to say about it and takes down Gatorada, trying to push up through Oil Pit. Cyclops, they don't have the start that they wanted, and they've lost a lot of that hard breach utility here. No more thermite charges left that they might try to use on the church wall.
And that's incredibly difficult because they've obviously just spent a lot of time trying to take that blue control. We saw how much of that utility was spent, and Gatorada lost his life to it. But typically you do that because you want to take that church wall, and so with that not being an option with the exothermics, it leaves just the Maverick here left to do it. You've got that presence behind it, as you do, because there are still 5 players standing on Giants. It's going to make it significantly harder for Cyclops to move on down, and also to successfully get this wall open. And there you go, Ayagata falls to that C4. There is going to be a trade as Hysterics goes down as well. Anitu with the 2K, in fact. We've seen this aggressive play before, but it's not going to pay out. Speakeasy getting that kill onto him, and just Black Ray is remaining.
That nade not going to do anything, and that shotgun will do something there. Giants, 2 back-to-back defenses. They're finally starting to change some things and provide better results here on their defense. They're on track for a 3-3 half. They make it happen, and we switch sides. And I've got to say, Giants are glad that they managed to claw back those last 2 defenses, but it's still scary for them here. If Cyclops can win as many defenses as they did the last time these 2 teams matched up on this map, then that means Cyclops will win 7-4, or 7-5 rather. Now, I'm really looking at Giants here, and they've got to continue this momentum that they've just stolen away from CAG, or CAG rather, and they need to continue that here on their attacking side.
It's interesting, actually, that Giants have opted to bring the IQ because the Pulse, which has been used very effectively in the past by Cyclops, and notably actually in the game that they played against Giants on this map previously, if they can get rid of him, or at the very least, know where he is, be able to prevent that value being taken by Cyclops, then that could be a pretty big opening for Giants, because they're going to be relying fairly heavily on that. So the IQ, who you don't see all that much at the moment, interesting pick there from Giants, and hopefully for their sake they'll be able to make that work out for them. And again, another interesting option is they obviously haven't chosen to bring Sledge, bring Buck instead, and that could make it easier for them to open up the kitchen. But obviously you are going against the same issue with impact grenades and not with a Hibana, and that could make it hard to open the kitchen hatch as well. So whether or not they decide to go for that, where Cyclops didn't, it still remains to be seen.
Yeah, the big thing for me that I'm interested in is Hysterics. How is he going to perform here on the Thermite instead of the Hibana? Now, Hibana, 3-speed, 2 really high rate of fire guns. A great operator to play if you're a bit of a fragger, even though there's some good util there. Like, take her ex-Kairos out of the equation. She's got stun grenades, 3-speed, and great guns, so she can frag out. Now, it's a bit more difficult to do that on Thermite. Not that we've never seen it done before, we definitely have, but it might not be a comfort pick for Hysterics. So Cyclops banning that, I'm really eager to see how that's going to affect Hysterics here.
Well, it's very quick. The first hatch is going to be opened, and Cyclops all very much centered around downstairs, which, you know, we expect. They're not really bringing any kind of operators that would suggest that they are going to go on much of a roam. But again, you're seeing this very kind of aggressive positioning here from Gatorada just to guide Gator with the cardiac sensor.
A bomb has been located.
And the drone's beginning to be sent in from Giants.
I think Luna was checking to see what utility was stored in blue there, and that enables Speakeasy to use one explosive to get rid of some barbed wire.
Have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Now, Giants half the round down, and I will say they've taken some good grounds. They've got really good info gathering here. This drone in particular from Speakeasy is so good at figuring out what's happening in blue. Now, he's just going to try and wait for someone to peek on out. He wants to try and maybe find an early pick here, but Giants, where is the tooth to their push? They can't feasibly get the kitchen hatch open. I wonder whether they try and brute force it. Hysterics is nearby at the moment, but I don't think that's really possible with the way that you've got the pulse underneath. Can C4. Hysterics actually push down dirt. Now, that's something we didn't see previously, and Speakeasy does eventually find that pick onto blue.
That's actually a pretty huge pick as well, as we've seen how much Aniton has been doing for the side of Cyclops. That'll start to allow things to move on forward. And here's the use of the bug to open up the kitchen floor. That's what I said before, but it's actually going to be Speakeasy who's the next one to fall. That's that Sophia gone, and that means that presence pushing down into blue is now no longer there for Giants.
Now, Cyclops, they need to hold on for a further 30 seconds. Great information here gathered by Gatorada, but what is the push for Giants? Time's ticking away, guys. You've got to make and execute. You've got to make it now. A C4 to come out in the dire moments. Jordan doesn't die to that. Now we're looking at Giants and saying, look, you guys don't have time. Ysteria's trying to open up the church wall, but these guys need to get a move on. There's 2 shields to deal with here in church, and I just don't think this is going to be possible. There's good info gathered there by Giants, but they need to step it up huge. Ysteria goes down. There's a trade. Is there a trade back? Luna can't get the goo mine out of his foot. And Giants are going to lose on time. Cyclops, all they had to do was sit on the bomb site and wait. And Giants had no idea what the play was.
It looked really messy from the perspective of, it was like watching a load of separate players come together and be like, okay, we know what we should be doing. We know we should take this part of their map, and we know we should open the kitchen floor, but we're not all going to do it together. We're not going to do it in a coordinated time. And we're sending one player down to open the church wall, but none of us are going to join. Like, it just felt uncoordinated. It felt like they understood what they should be doing, but couldn't really get the execution off quite correctly, which is very strange from this team. And actually, it's interesting that we're seeing them switch onto something that's maybe a little bit more comfortable for them. And we teased it at the start about how that Montagna being available meant that Luna's comfort pick played right into his hands, and that's exactly what they're going to be bringing.
And just to stay on that previous round for one more moment, last time these two teams matched up, Giants weren't able to win any attack round aside from onto the gym bedroom bomb site. The Cyclops, every time they went to the basement, they did an SSG-style roam, or at least some kind of heavy roam. Now, they've done the opposite this time around. Cyclops didn't roam at all there downstairs. They played full on-site. And remembering that Hibana was banned, Giants didn't have a way to do a kitchen side take because it was too exposed to try and get the Thermite or the Maverick to breach that kitchen hatch open. So great stuff from Cyclops in terms of the preparation. They've come into this game with some new stuff, and I think that's thrown off Giants here. But as you said, banning that Hibana does leave the Montaigne open, and it leaves Luna able to go to that comfort pick. Now, it's not the be-all and end-all for Giants, but we know how good he is with this operator. Mind you, Aniton on the Clash is a great way to counter it.
Yeah, I was thinking that. This is the interesting thing, right, is that when you're playing the Monty, the kind of hope is that you get to just focus on pressuring a lot of those players who are on the defense and worrying about removing various utility that may be there to hinder him, being able to support him from behind. But actually, when you're going up against the shield yourself, you have a lot of that attrition that's coming back towards you that you don't necessarily always expect. Is Gatorada going to go for this run out? He's flirting with the idea. That doesn't look entirely... I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he has...
Either way, the point is the Clash is maybe something unexpected here that Giants have now got to deal with, because it means you have to invest the utility into removing her and then worrying about everyone else.
Keep in mind, this is gym and bedroom defense, and half the round down, Giants have only just breached the TV wall. That's late, and that may come back to bite them in the late rounds. It's what happened on their church attack, and it may well happen again here. That said, I didn't notice, but Giants have already breached the jacuzzi wall. Now for Cyclops, they are stripping back piece by piece. Anderson no longer contesting construction. Lunar Metal to take that ground away. Now, he's going to call for one of his teammates to breach open a slightly larger hole here into office so that he can walk through while fully extended, as it would be too risky for him to take that shield off, and it looks like Jordan's going to try to support him, droning out logistics, and that's where the clash has gone to. All right, Luna pushes right through, but now he doesn't really have a way of dealing with this clash. He's just going to take a minuscule amount of damage piece by piece as he gives calls to his team. 45 seconds.
This is where they just need to smash into each other. There's the smoke that's going to come out, and he has to back into a corner. Gator falling down. That's that smoke gone, so you don't need to worry about any more of that coming out. But nonetheless, this is a really awkward position here for Luna.
Can the Monsane start pushing up? Suzu's there to support and takes down Jordan. Now this is looking so dire for Giants. It's the shield versus the shield, but Clash gets out the rifle and doesn't manage to make it work. How is this all on Gatorada all of a sudden? But he finds another one. Can the pick come out by the end of it? Indeed, Giants drag themselves over the line. It was dire, it was close, but piece by piece, they get themselves that attack win.
When it comes to the War of the Shields, who would we be but to vote for Luna Metal? I don't want to say vote for Luna Metal, but, you know, it's kind of unsurprising, I suppose, when you know that there's so much experience on this team with playing that. But maybe not something that that Cyclops are going to bring out against them again. I think that was probably a sort of a risk, a little bit of a gamble, and now they've found themselves in a situation where they are sitting on the same scoreline as one another. So that massive advantage that Cyclops were running along with, they don't have that anymore. They don't have the opportunity to make those kind of gambles again. So, you know, they're going to be coming over to CCTV. And, you know, you mentioned how when they played before, Giants really struggled to successfully attack any of the sites other than gym and bedroom. So that means that this is one that they haven't been able to win against Cyclops in the past. And Cyclops are actually going to be bringing some of that denial, both in the form of the Bandit and in the form of the Mute. So it means that a lot of the attention is going to have to be spent from Jordan on the Buck and from Ysera on the Maverick to be able to get rid of that utility before that push-in can be made. But they're still bringing the Montagna.
Giants definitely living up to the motto. When in doubt, bring the Frenchman out. Seems to be Luna's favorite special. And I like that Anderson's kind of got the same idea here. I mean, Montaigne is not quite Doc, but they're both French, and that kind of almost makes my joke make sense.
Sure.
Almost.
Almost. We'll go with it. I mean, it is kind of nice to see the Doc. You can not only have the opportunity to stim up your opponents, but with the ACOG as well, you can get some real kind of neat angles. And it looks like Giant... No, go on.
Cyclops are absolutely jacked right now. Look at the way that they are running around. So much confidence. Gator and Anderson running around downstairs. Gatorada there as well. Like, you cannot get these guys to sit still for 2 seconds.
Yeah, they're chats. They know what they're doing. They're like... You know, I mean, I think the thing is when you come in and you start a series off so well against the guys who are undefeated in the region, it's going to make you feel pretty good. And they know they will have figured out why a number of those rounds that have gone wrong have done so. And then here we go. Luna starting to try and come in from the garage. It's going to be kind of difficult because you have these two different angles being held by the defenders of Cyclops. It means no one really can kind of join him there. Jordan isn't far behind, but Speakeasy certainly isn't going to be, as he gets taken down by Gatorada as that first kill.
There's not a lot of utility here for Cyclops to deal with this Monty, so they'll try and leverage the crossfire. That's, a lot of damage dealt to Luna there from the gas. That's 2 expended for Gator, but well worth it. Look how low Luna Metal has been taken. That is so impactful. and will make him question his moves, especially as there's still one gas canister left in Aegator's pocket. Giants at a bit of a loss here. They haven't dealt with any of these roamers. You would have thought that maybe they could try to worm their way around on that canister is going to miss. Now the Monty can start pushing up. This Doc has got to deal with the immovable object starting to push towards him, as well as the players peeking him. Is Luna going to take the gamble? What a headshot hip fire! Oh my goodness, Luna Metals clearly had his 4-leaf clover and eaten horseshoes for breakfast, but Giants, it's still a difficult trek ahead. 4v2 now, make that a 3v2. Gatorada, once again, on the prowl. Back on the bomb site here, ready to take the fight to this Montaigne. Good information here on the TV wall. Spots the player crossing, but gets punished. All on Suzu now, when Luna Metal says, hello, don't shoot my papillons. I'm gonna shoot you. See you later. 20 seconds left. Absolutely nothing you can do. That's a Giants round.
It looked like the setup was relatively good from the defense, but the attack were just so ready. And you know, there was a lot of there was a lot of preparation for Aegator to be remained alive, as you know. Obviously what happened in the previous round back when we were upstairs was that the smoke went down really quickly, which meant that when Luna Metal was at that point where he did have really low HP, like we saw in this round, there weren't even the smoke canisters remaining to try and finish the job off. Now this time the third one did go down, but obviously it missed. But you know, with the Doc on side as well, he was there ready to be able to keep Aegator alive. Now obviously that didn't end up being required, but it meant that as the attacking team, as Giants began to take control of Garage, they also set things up so that all these angles that were being held by Cyclops couldn't then be turned into rotation points. The Claymore at the top of Oil Pit, for example, that did bring Aegator down, it meant that he couldn't jump out and go and chase the Monty from behind and get that kill that way. There was no way that you could trade onto the Monty, and it ensured that he could still continue to push onto the site. Now, whether you kind of sit there and question why he jumped out of Oil Pit when you should expect a Claymore there, that's something else entirely. But the point is, it worked out there for Giants. And it means that now they have been able to finally take an attacking round against Cyclops that isn't just gym bedroom. And as we head downstairs, maybe with this Monty once again, they're going to make it work for themselves again.
As much as Cyclops here have come into this with some good preparation, they've thrown that curveball ban out there with the Hibana to throw off Hysterics, who has clearly been thrown off. You know, he's playing the Thermite. He's at 6 for 9 at the moment. Really, look at those assists. Like, that makes you think, right, he's been lighting up players and losing gunfights only for his teammates to trade. That's quite unusual for Hysterics. But, of course, Cyclops haven't practiced playing against Giants with this Montaigne. And now that Luna's start to bring it out consistently, does make you a bit worried for Cyclops. Now, my question here for Giants, last time attacking Church and Arsenal, they really struggled. They didn't open the kitchen hatch. And they only really late started to use the Maverick Torch on the Church wall, and Cyclops were prepared for that with shields in Church to face the breach. So will Giants try and take the gamble and open up that Church hatch with an exothermic? It would be so difficult, it's so dangerous because you're vulnerable to the C4s, but it might be worth it if they can make it happen.
Yeah, it was all a bit risky. But obviously you have to bear in mind there's actually only one C4 on the side of Cyclops this time. That's going to be held by the Pulse. So if you can bait that out, if you can get him to use it a little bit earlier, especially as he's going to be mostly sitting in Armory, so, you know, just below the kitchen, then you might be able to have a little bit of a safer opportunity to have a go at that Church wall. So it's going to be the bar hatch getting opened. First hit, if you can, yeah, there we go, right, he's finally able to do it. So that's that first channel in that Giants have available to them, and they can start opening up the floor.
Nade trickles down, not sure quite where the target was. And we may well see Jordan continue to open up this floor of kitchen into Arsenal to flush out Gatorada. Hysterics droning it out, he spots the Pulse. I'm still not sure whether Hysterics' intention is to open up this kitchen hatch, because they didn't last time despite having the Buck try and clear Pulse out of here. He could use that exothermic on Dirt instead, which is what he did last round. Or he could go for Church Wall as well, which did not happen last round. A lot of options here for Giants, and I'm just waiting for that call to come out from their in-game leader or shot caller, and it looks like Hysterics being positioned in a position to go for that church wall. But Jordan, that C4 does come out and take him down. Hysterics might go for the revive, but Black Ray running around downstairs. Hysterics finds that one. Look at this aggressive peek. 2 people coming up main stairs. Galarada's just going for it in a 2 versus 4, but he gets spotted on the drone. Now pushing back down, he has the kit, but hello, Montaigne, he says. And he runs away, trying to dodge this in such a precarious position. Surely he gets punished. It's just him and Anderson, but 15 seconds. Giants are going to go into overdrive here and take this away from them. The Montaigne once again pushing up. Galarada, the last man standing. He takes 1 down, 3 players to find once again in a 1 versus 3, but the diffuser not going to go down. They have to find him. They don't have time. He denies the plans. What a clutch from Galarada in the 1 versus 3 with 2 headshots.
Amazing that he was able to make that work out. Galarada just really standing up. But I think one of the problems that Giants had there was the fact that the diffuser got dropped in Moto, and it was a very difficult place to go and pick it up. And even though you had that man advantage, you were relying on the Monty to shift a lot of the positioning of those remaining defenders and potentially push them into some of those line of sights. But when you got someone like Galarada who can just clutch those kills out at the end, it doesn't really matter, because as the attacking team, you can't necessarily rely on the fact you're going to be able to go and pick the diffuser back up and plant it. That's not what they could really go for in that situation. And if you got something like that, then it's not going to work out in your favor. So even so, as it remains, Giants struggling to attack that site. But as we return to gym and bedroom, this is where they've been feeling the most comfortable, James. And, we're on a 5 versus 5. They only need a couple more rounds to be able to secure themselves this win. And to be fair, it has been one of the hardest series, I think it's fair to say, that they've faced so far in the APAC North Division. But they've proven now that other than Church and Arsenal, that they can take these attacks. If they could do this on these next couple of rounds, then they've got it in the bag.
To be fair, I know that we're saying Giants here. They're struggling on Church and Arsenal, but they should have won that round. That was a 3v1.
Oh, yeah.
So, to be fair, as much as tilting as that would be to lose that clutch from Galarada, and as much as we're looking at the scoreline saying it's even, and I've been hyping up Cyclops all game, saying they had such a good first half, surely they can convert that in the second. Giants have really turned things around on their attacks and put themselves in a lot of decisive positions to win them. Now, that one was just a clutch. Surely they just got to be like, look, guys, whatever, one mistake, let's go and keep hammering our attacks like we know we can, because we've successfully attacked every single bomb site, aside from Church and Arsenal, which we basically won anyway aside from that clutch. So surely we just hold it out here and win these next 2 rounds and close it out without needing overtime.
Now, I'm very interested here in the fact that Cyclops, obviously they have this Valkyrie, which means that another C4 will be able to be brought, as well as those black eyes that can give the information as to where their Monty is. But one of the really key things that happened last time on this site when we had this Monty clash war in logistics was the smoke went down really early and couldn't finish the Monty off. So I think Iagate is really going to be someone to watch out for here, because if he can stay alive and be able to use all 3 of those smoke canisters, that's potentially going to provide a much bigger threat to the Monty than was present last time, and could potentially be, kind of change the fates for what happens here.
Giants have actually made really good headway. They've completely cleared out Cash with half the round left, but Galarada is on that roam. And if we see Giants start to push in through Cash and Con, maybe a C4 can come up and deal damage, but so far Giants are actually positioned really, really well here. Where's the play? Are they really going to go for something? That smoke goes out, prompts Aegator to use one of his own. And now CAG are really wary. Does this mean an Executor's coming through? But Giants are just baiting this right now. They're just playing patient. Lunametal rotates over to Jacuzzi, and there you go. The battle of the shields. It's Anderson and Luna staring each other down, but Galarada finds that first pick. That's Jordan, the buck going down. And now we have this X-Factor downstairs, still C4 in pocket, ready to go and use that in the late rounds.
And this is what they're going to have to rely on here, because actually the fact that Luna hung around so much in the master window meant that those smokes did get baited out. And now there's none remaining. So they don't have that on their side. Being pushed up here, and he's in a position that can't really be at risk with the C4s from below. That makes it so much harder for Cyclops to be able to deal with that as Anaton pushes him up so much closer. He's going to be getting out the gun, but it's so far nothing.
Look at this long shot from Gatorado, not able to find anything, and Giants are really struggling to deal with this clash. Only a few seconds left and no utility to have a go at it with. And Anaton is just roaming free right now. Finally, can Speakeasy make it happen? Gator's going to lock down Hysterics. Lunametal's on a battle on the bomb site to cover the diffuser. But Black Ray takes him down. And also Lunametal to hold down on the bomb sites. And that is Cyclops to steal away this defense and take us all the way to match points.
Was so close to being able to get the diffuser down there, and because the Monty fell, that made him vulnerable. No one has impunity, even hidden behind a shield, it would appear. Great round there from the defending side. And as you say, that does take it to match point. That means that if Cyclops take this round, they will have dethroned the champions who have so far gone undefeated here in the APAC North League. So there's going to be sweat trickling down the backs of Giants. They're going to be coming to attack CCTV and Cash. We saw them make it work a little bit better for themselves last time they came here. They had a pretty good run taking the garage control. Didn't really get too affected by the smokes that were brought, or the smoke canisters that were brought out by Cyclops as they pushed very aggressively up onto the rafters. And of course, with things like those Claymore placements that I mentioned before, it meant that that potential flank that could have been made by Cyclops didn't actually work out for them. But the question is that going to be able to be repeated? Because Cyclops are actually opting to bring the Clash this time as well, instead of just, leaving her on gym and bedroom.
Yeah, once again, Cyclops, they're figuring out what's working for them, and they're playing into that even more. I like this. We haven't yet seen Clash on this bomb site, only for gym and bedroom, as you said, and nor have we seen Valkyrie on this bomb site before. They've replaced the Bandit with the Valkyrie, opting for no wall denial. They're saying, okay, it's fine. Look, we're happy to let Hysterics open up that wall for free and not waste that time, because we think our Clash can waste the time, and I think this is a good idea. I mean, short of maybe a Legion pick, there's not much that Cyclops can do to try and hold on to Garage against a pushing Monty on rafters. So I think this Clash is definitely something that could work. One exothermic goes off and opens up. Wait a second, Gatorada just shot that exothermic charge from the window of Pool. That's nuts. Eventually he is punished though. Good job from Speakeasy to at least capitalize. And I think that Giants, while losing that hard breach utility, they've got to be happy with that trade.
Yeah, as you say, definitely a good trade to have. And they do, of course, have one more exothermic remaining, and this is going to be placed here on the CCTV wall. And yeah, Black Ray going down as well. That significantly weakens the defense here, especially as it was that Valkyrie who does hold the C4. That means that Suzuzi is now the only one remaining who can use that kind of utility. In goes the frag grenade. It's going to get rid of that denial, and Speakeasy as well is going to fall. Evens things out somewhat as far as man count goes. But even so,
Giants have just taken site. While they're trying to breach this side open, Giants just decided to go in through con. They had Cash control, but Suzu with that C4 from below does take down Hysterics. 3 versus 3 and the numbers are even. And I like this change from Giants deciding, all right, they've got the Clash in Garage, let's just push the other side. But Monty is still toying with the idea here. At least Lunametal can call out that he's got 2 players trapped on him, and maybe there's a possibility for Cyclops to do something else. Lunametal gets taken down. That's huge from Gator. They're on match point right now, and they could make the deal. Sold here. 3 versus 2, and now chasing the kill is Gator, but he gets taken out. It's so close here, tooth and nail between these two teams, but Suzu's the last one left. It's a 1 versus 2. He needs to clutch it out. He has been huge this game, but it is not enough to prevent Giants from securing the overtime. All 12 rounds have been played, and we're going to OT. What a nasty shot there from Ysera. And I've got to say, Gio, this match absolutely deserves overtime.
Cyclops, who were looking a victory straight in the eyes, have had it wrenched brutally from their cold hands. So now they're going to have to fight for, as you say, in overtime. And you're right, this is a match that definitely deserves overtime. I think it was fair to say, we thought that Giants probably had the upper hand here, but the desk said it, Jess said it, this is going to be a close game. The audience said it with their 51 to 49% predictions for each of these teams. I think that's fair to say it's the closest prediction we've ever had for any game. And it turns out everyone knew what they were talking about. Everyone's right here. It's going all the way. All the way. So where it will be going first will be down into the basement. And we've spoken before about how Cyclops have liked to play the SSG style roam last time, but this time they focused a lot more of an anchor style defense. And it's been working out for them so far, as Giants have failed to be able to attack this site successfully both times, both once with a Monty and once without.
Yeah, but remember that second time was so close, and I feel like that should have been a Giants round. But Gatorada, sorry, no, it was Annixon. Oh, it was Gatorada to clutch it. It was Gatorada with the pulse. Now he's actually decided not to bring the pulse at all. Yeah, he was an absolute beast. Look at him, he's 12-7 right now. Gatorada is playing out of his mind right now, and honestly, all of Cyclops are really stepping up their game. We've got players like Suzu who have had hugely impactful opening engagements, where players that wouldn't necessarily usually step up. But as for Giants, they are once again bringing this operator lineup with the Monty. They've really stuck it ever since they brought it in their second attack. They've had the exact same lineup every round, making really quick work of this map control despite any potential presence that has been... in fact, there is no presence at all from Cyclops, once again going for that full turtle strat. So I really like this from Giants. They've read into what Cyclops has done to defenses so far, and they're making sure that they're even more efficient here.
Just running things out, make sure they know where everything is. But, you know, we've seen a couple of times... Well, actually, on both the sides, it's been a very interesting way of having to try to attack onto this site, because both teams have foregone the opportunity to open up the kitchen hatch. And it makes sense. You have such a risk of being impact tricked. And even when they've opened up the floor, you have that pressure coming in from below as well. And there have been a number of kills that have been managed to be taken, but when you're so used to having that kitchen drop as a potential, as one of those options, it's a lot harder when that's not there. I mean, this is one of those maps where you kind of have a very set way of doing things, and they're having to rely purely on these other two hatches, one of which now being opened as the motor hatch has been done so here, and that means that they can begin to drop down.
Makes you wonder, what's the strat here for Giants? Ysera moving to Church Wall makes it likely that he's going to get the torch. Indeed, he does. He'll try and open up some angles to look into Church. But Cyclops are very much ready for this. They have a gas goes over the top. Now, Ysera actually backs up into it, but it's too high, and he doesn't get choked out. A grenade goes over. That's so good. That destroys one of those deployable shields and makes it much more difficult for Cyclops to play inside here. Speakeasy opens things up, and Hysterics is going to quite literally breach open the main wall of Church. Now, finally, this is looking like Giants could take an attack downstairs.
I want to know if there's anyone being sent down towards blue, because those angles are open, and Black Ray, he's going to be taken down. So it does seem that there is kind of this open space. Gator does get one kill there with the smoke that he was looking for, followed up by Suzu C. This puts it into 3 versus 3. Make that a 3 versus 2 as Gatorada does succumb to his injuries. And suddenly, Suzu C having a game of his life, but he's very low HP, so the risk is high. 14 seconds remaining. Azira's going to have to jump down, but he can't. And that means the diffuser's upstairs.
It's all on the Montagne. He can find one, but Alligator's just going to run away. He might not know it, but he's got the diffuser. He sees it, and he knows there is no chance for Giants to win this round. Once again, Giants get so close on their Church attacks, but Cyclops know exactly when to get aggressive and fight straight back.
Last time it was Gatorada, this time it was Suzu C. But either way, there's always that one player on Cyclops who are able to just spray and pray as Giants start to make their move in. Brutal for them that they had lost the diffuser upstairs then. And it was an attempt at that aggressive play. And I was thinking, the way that a lot of the utility was set up meant that they could have moved in. I had someone move in from blue and set up that pinch, but it just looked like no one was really in the position to be doing that. And it was a very solid, west side attempt there from Giants. Didn't work out. And that means we've said it a number of times today, James. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it means we're now one round away from Cyclops being able to take this away from Giants and destroy that streak that they have had so well so far.
The Giants have never been on match point throughout this entire series, and this is the second time Cyclops have had it. Honestly, I feel like we're going to see the full 15 rounds here. Giants actually changing their mind last minute to go for this cash bomb site instead of Church and Arsenal. Now, having a look, they actually lost their first defense onto this bomb site, thanks to that really aggressive rush in from Alligator into TV after that main wall was breached. And then Giants lost their player, it was Speakeasy, who was on rafters. So it does make me wonder if the last time Giants played this defensive bomb site, they struggled so much. Why would they go back here? They seem to have an idea that this is maybe going to be a bit stronger than it was previously. But for the very first time, we're actually seeing the infamous shield, Montaigne itself, come from Cyclops.
Interesting. And I am going to be, what I'm so interested about this is I feel like if they do win out this round and they do stump that streak from Giants and they do prevent them from being this undefeated opponent of APAC, the fact they will have done it on the operator that everyone says is Giants' operator would be the ultimate BM. That would just be not fair.
Cyclops has been so good with their shields on the Clash as well. But so far, things haven't gone great here for Cyclops. These mute jammers are proving to be quite a trouble for them. And there you go. Once again, these gases aggressively used by Hysterics to deal as much damage as possible to the hard breaches as they try to open up this wall. Alligator still hasn't destroyed that jammer. And Ysera also has presence downstairs still. Now, he was cleared out quite early on in previous rounds, and I wonder how long he'll stay alive for. Surely this wall's going to get breached. Finally, they destroy that mute jammer. And the thermite can pop the exothermic charge. But look, a bit of damage, quite a bit of damage, in fact, done to both of the Cyclops hard breaches. And they're going to start doing the coveted Giant strategy of pushing their Montaigne here through Garage.
Look at this. Obviously, only Speakeasy up on the rafters is waiting for them, but Ysera's not far away. Down at the bottom of the stairs, he can very easily move up, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing. But they don't have to worry about those smokes as they've all been expended. They also don't have to worry about Gatorada, but okay, goodbye Speakeasy. Getting traded out there by Aniton as he was distracted, and that means that don't have to worry about these ADS, don't have to clear out the magnets. You can just move on up, and the site is right there.
Not only is Cyclops in a numbers disadvantage, maybe not so much anymore, but they still have less rifles than their opponent. Anitson shows that he's not afraid to use this P9, though, try and take these aggressive fights with the pistol. Now, what is the setup from Giants? All three players here on the north side. No one downstairs, but we still have a C4 in Ysera's pocket. He could drop down the construction hash or go down red stairs late round, or toss it over the shelving unit. And look at that, he also opened up the TV window on the west side so that Jordan can jump through and try and deny that default plant. But this is when everything comes to a head. Alligator with diffuser in hand is going to go so aggressive. He needs to make an impact here, but he's taken out. Hysterics comes all the way around from red stairs. Black Gray the last man standing, but Hysterics shuts him down. A huge 3K to put Giants all the way to overtime. 15 rounds will be required to settle this gambit.
Oh man, I mean, I just can't help but feel that was so unnecessary at the end from Alligator. You were so close. I'm just like, imagine me grabbing their shoulders and shaking them. You were so close. You didn't need to do that. You were holding the diffuser. I mean, it's great. It's great content to see them go to the final round, right? Because it means it really, really does come down to the wire. But Cyclops, they had it right there. And it's not the first time that they've been in that position in this series so far. And it seems every time they get there, Giants can yank it straight back away from them. And it's messing with me emotionally. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's intense. This game is one of the best I think we have casted in all of EUL and all of APAC North League. This season, this has been the ultimate rivalry. The two teams coming into this season that everybody had high hopes for. Now Giants have exceeded expectations, going flawless throughout all of APAC North. They look like the kings of the hill. And finally, it seems like there's a team out here that can challenge them. It is Cyclops on the rematch. They've reworked everything. They look so much better now. But there's 2 match points that have slipped away from them. This is the final round. Can they lock it in?
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Well, that is the question. They're going to be coming in on the attack, and that does mean that Luna, of course, is going to be present on that Monty. We wouldn't expect anything else at this point. And because it is a gym site, that means that Aniton as well is going to be on the clash, and he's been able to provide quite a bit of resistance to the Monty so far, but both times that we've seen it, Monty has won out. But if they're able to do that again, that means the Giants will continue on their flawless streak. So what is it the Cyclops are going to change up? They've got the same operator lineup as before, opting for the Valkyrie. They have those C4s. They have the smoke. So what's going to change?
The only thing that's seemingly changed here for Cyclops is bringing the Goyo, which they previously only brought on their Church and Arsenal defenses, not here on Jim. Now, Suzu, he was so impactful at getting Cyclops the match point on their first overtime round with that huge 3K. But Giants, what is the play so far? Anitson and Gadarada moving around quite a lot. Anitson knows he needs to be wherever that Montaigne is to ensure that Luna Metal can't get aggressive through here, but Giants are clearing top red stairs in through Cash. Cyclops have completely vacated this side of the map. Hysterix is going to drone ahead for the rest of his team. And it seems like Giants have all this map control for free now, but they're going to stall out, no doubt, once again, when they get to logistic office, when they get through construction. Last time, it was really almost by luck that Luna Metal was able to win out that team fight against the Clash and the rest of the Cyclops players supporting in office. And I just don't know if that's going to work out in Giants' favor again.
Look at this. I actually really like this position here from Suzu Z, because it's going to make it a lot riskier for that Monty to move in when you have a C4 player directly below. In go the smokes. That's going to obscure some of that vision that Cyclops have, and that's going to actually cause them to throw in the gas canister themselves just in case of that push, but it's not really going to be stopping anyone.
What's the idea with those smokes? Because Giants completely backed off right after that utility. Now you can see how it baited Cyclops into being really cautious of these windows, but so far Giants haven't taken anything, and Cyclops haven't taken the bait. They haven't overextended and enabled Giants that pick. Now there's a gas canister to go out from Aegator. Only one remaining to stall out this Montaigne in the dying moments, but there's the first pick, and that last gas won't be utilized. Speaking as he jumps straight in and jumps straight out,
no!
And now the Clash gets team killed by Suzu. It's all on him for the entire map, and Giants look like they're gonna take it. It's been flawless throughout the whole season. Suzu's had some big clutches in the past, but it ain't gonna happen. Giants continue their reign of terror over APAC North League, flawless.
Probably the most heartbreaking defeat for Cyclops, given how close they were on a number of occasions throughout that series. But Giants, they clawed it back. They pulled themselves in. We saw how precarious a lot of the Monty play was, and we did wonder, was it going to be enough on this last round? The answer is yes. They played the bait, and it worked. They pulled down so many members of Cyclops, and they continue on that flawless streak.
Wow, an absolutely insane game. Through and through, there was never a moment where I could tell you that one team or another was going to win. It was just constantly back and forth, and I've got to say, that was one of the best games I've watched in a long time. No idea who was going to win that. It was just overall a very close game. But but well fought. And I mean, commiserations to Cyclops. But by the end of it, it is Giants that take the victory. Analysts, I'm sure you guys have got a lot to say about that one.
Thank you very much, Dev Marta, aka Giants fanboy.